Hello, everyone. My name is Kaitlin. As mentioned, I'm here from Vanta to talk to you about a strategy that we think is really powerful to help businesses of all size, but especially small businesses, stay competitive and ramp up in a downturn, which is to grow their top line and to stay competitive through streamlining your compliance, to unblock your sales team or even your own sales efforts, and to keep the flow of new clients and prospects in. So to go ahead and dive in, I'll share a little bit about myself, but more importantly about Vanta's story. And Vanta is a really unique and I think heartwarming, endearing founder story. So I'm excited to share a little bit about Vanta's founder story as well. Talk to you about the power of compliance and security and how that helps you to ramp up in a downturn. Talk about the old way, the good old fashioned way of security and compliance versus the new way, and sort of like the next chapter or next generation of what we think that looks like. And then very happy to field some questions. So again, I'm Kaitlin. I'm the VP of Customer Experience at Vanta. As I said, I'm so honored to be speaking to this group. I grew up with two parents that own their own businesses, several variations of their own businesses, actually on my mom's side, and saw firsthand the struggle, the heroism, and just the beauty of building your own business. So honored to be here and celebrate all that you all are doing. I've been with Vanta about a year. I had zero background in cybersecurity and compliance. I built a career working in support of small businesses at Yelp and spent a bit of time as well at Intercom, another, I think, kind of popular startup tool. When I found out that Vanta was helping startups in particular level the playing field to stay competitive in terms of building and maintaining good security posture, it immediately grabbed my attention. When I was interviewing with them, the ransomware attacks of last summer were sort of like making big news, and it just felt like security and compliance is just a really important frontier on the internet always, but especially now more than ever. All right, enough about me, on to Vanta's story. If you haven't heard of us before, maybe you've seen us. This is probably our catchphrase that we are most well known for, which is compliance that doesn't sock too much. I know that there's like a billboard milestone in a founder or startup journey. This one was ours. So really, Vanta is on a mission to protect consumer data and restore trust in internet businesses. An audacious mission and vision, as I'm sure you all have your own as well. We help companies scale security practices and automate compliance for the most sought after compliance standards: SOC 2, ISO 27001, HIPAA for those in the healthcare space, GDPR, and most recently CCPA here in California. All right, so as mentioned, Vanta is a founder story. So meet Christina Cacciopo. This is our co-founder and CEO. In 2016, there was a slew of high-profile data breaches, including the 2016 election, where everyone's emails were, of course, everywhere. There was also the Equifax incident. 2017, Vanta was co-founded by Christina with the idea that if you give small companies the tools to start on security early, you can help them unlock deals and level the playing field when selling into the enterprise. More importantly, making the internet more secure in the process. So 2020, Vanta surpasses 10 million in ARR and helped almost 1,000 customers improve their security, a milestone that we reached without even raising a Series A. And Christina has actually joined a Founder U conversation. Historically, you can find that talk on YouTube where she talks about getting to 10 million ARR without a Series A. I think that was pretty popular, well received. You can find that on YouTube. So 2021, Vanta raises its first round, 50 million round led by Sequoia, and 2022 followed by a 110 million Series B at a 1.6 billion valuation led by Craft Ventures with participation from other investors. Christina still today is an incredible co-founder and CEO. I always share that she has a brilliant mind and a great heart. She's known as the Midwest Assassin, hailing from Ohio. And, her initial vision continues to inspire and excite in terms of to helping make the internet a more secure space, but also to empower startups, ensuring that compliance and security is not a 10-person team, $100,000 plus a year type of investment. All right. So I'm sure most of you already know this, but just to say it out loud, why do compliance and security posture matter so much? Security, of course, is an essential element of today's business. So this is kind of the scary stuff. An overwhelming majority of customers are willing to walk away from companies that experience a data breach. 60% of SMBs will experience a data breach. 60% of them will also go out of business within 6 months of a data breach. 38% of the cost of a data breach is lost or is due to lost business, right? So this, it's hard to regain trust back once it is lost, easier to build, harder to gain back. So this is kind of the scary stuff. This is sort of like the worst case scenario. But, we really believe that security is also just like good business. An overwhelming majority of customers are also willing to walk away from companies that can't provide proof of good security posture. It's no longer enough just to say you have good security posture. It's become increasingly important to demonstrate that you do. So this is from a survey that I'll share the link with everyone at the end of today's presentation in the chat. But, people really want proof, and some of you may already be bumping up against this. Your prospective customers, 57% identified in this survey, but customers are going to want to understand what compliance certifications do you have? What best practices have you implemented? How can I be sure that our data will be safe with you and that our customers will be cared for? Beyond existing customers and prospects, this survey also surfaced that 22% of founders and startup leaders are finding that venture capitalists are also inquiring about the state of their security posture and asking for proof in support of that before really engaging in any serious conversation around investment. Gambling on security can be a losing bet. 25% of startups have no security roadmap, and 71% of startups have no dedicated security personnel in place. Again, this is from the survey. And that's understandable. This is a reality for good reason. When you are trying to get funding, when you are trying to establish product market fit, this feels important, but potentially a nice to have. But we are just seeing that increasingly this is not a nice to have. This is, in fact, a must have. And again, why Vanta has been on a mission to democratize this a little bit and make it less of an overwhelming and expensive hurdle for startups. So in terms of the old way versus the new way, redefining the compliance status quo. Typically, as an executive, you would spend hundreds of hours or delegate to someone on your team, likely one of your expensive technical hires, to spend time researching compliance. Which standards do we need? What type of testing? What controls and policies matter for us? You would be reliant potentially on a third-party consultant for guidance. Sometimes you just have to throw money at this problem. We don't know what we don't know. Bring someone in who does. And then audit with a large firm. This is big traditional business, and these firms cost a lot of money. 200 to 400 hours of manual evidence gathering. We like to think that we help businesses get away from screenshots and spreadsheets, which is really still today what a traditional audit experience looks like. And generally less time spent closing deals, less time hiring, and less time innovating on your product and adding value to your customers and showing value to your prospects. All right, so with automation, continuous monitoring within minutes, and we'll talk a little bit more about this shortly, but it's one thing to get compliant, it's another thing to stay compliant. And so the traditional process, right, screenshots and spreadsheets captures where you stand at a single point of time. Continuous monitoring, when you leverage the power of technology and integrations, you can stand up a security dashboard in minutes. Access to a team of security and audit experts in-house to navigate the requirements. Automated testing and evidence gathering, as I said, through the power of technology, leveraging integrations that take just a few minutes to set up. And you can get audit complete in 3 to 6 months for 75% less cost. So I've already touched on some of these, but what are the motivators to explore a new path to get compliant and to build good security posture? Growth. Demonstrate security measures to close more deals while scaling security practices across a growing team. Time to completion, get it done faster and for less money and time. Expertise gap. Eliminate the need to learn the ins and outs of security standards or to task your CTO with doing so. And then limited bandwidth. We want founders and their early hires to focus on high value activities such as sales and engineering rather than compliance related distractions. All right, so that's kind of the old way, the traditional audit, hire the big team, bring in consultants, versus the new way, leverage the power of technology integrations to stand up continuous monitoring, which helps you to get compliant faster, quicker, and cheaper. But there's sort of a next generation of compliance that's emerging that I actually think is even more interesting for small startups that is separate to, or separate from rather, the traditional compliance certification path. So this is something like a trust report. So this is continuous compliance versus point in time proof and evidence. So what you're looking at here is just a mock-up of what we call a trust report. There are various products on the market that do this for you. You'll see here on the left that this is firstly a downloadable PDF. So when you or your first sales hire or a member of your sales team is on a call with a prospect and they're like, where do you stand? What is your security posture? What certifications do you have? If you have certifications, you can upload them and store them in your system and then download proof of them as part of this report. But if you're just not there yet because you are just at an earlier stage or you are generally working in that direction, you can demonstrate where you stand through this continuous monitoring over here on the right. And again, SOC 2, so important, industry standard, but it shows where you stood on a Tuesday 2 months ago when your auditor signed off. Something like a trust report or a related tool or resource is going to capture a snapshot of where you stand today. What are you monitoring? What policies do you have in place? Is your team using screen locks? Do you have password protected? What is your onboarding and offboarding process, right? So this is really a bespoke, you build it. And then you can just pull a PDF. And really what this helps to do is deflect those time-consuming security questionnaires that you will or have already been being hit with as you're talking to prospects. And so again, what I really love about this sort of next generation of compliance is two things. One, it is moving us away from this single point in time check where someone can immediately fall out of compliance or ignore the good security posture that they built the immediate, the day following their audit. But it's also empowering businesses that don't yet have those certifications in place. You can say, we're not quite there yet, but you can trust us. We've got great evidence to show you what our security posture looks like. I'm going to send you a link. You can download it yourself, distribute it to your team. You can also share this with your teammates, right? So rather than your CTO or yourself getting hit with these security questionnaires and then having to send something back to the field or your go-to-market team, you can democratize this and share it with them direct. So trust reports, as mentioned, you can proactively prove your company's security posture with or without compliance certifications. You can reduce the back and forth around vendor security reviews. For anyone that has tackled these before, it is a beast and it takes a lot of time. You can decrease the request for security questionnaires if you simply enable your go-to-market teams to speak to these proactively before getting hit with the request for a security questionnaire. You can leverage the data to create a public security page, right? So you can create a URL that links directly to this monitoring and enables prospects and customers to download the reports themselves. And as mentioned, you can democratize the security information across your organization. This stuff doesn't have to be siloed at the executive team or the technical team. All right. So to summarize, the power of compliance in security is real. As mentioned, I had zero background or really interest in this space until hearing what products like what Vanta is building is doing. And as someone who's had a big heart and history in supporting small businesses, brick and mortar, or technology, really exciting to know that there are businesses out there prioritizing building for founders and small companies to ensure that they can stay competitive, avoid fines, avoid losing customers because of, really embarrassing and stressful data breaches, but also just unblock deals as a means to help you ramp up in a downturn. The old way versus the new way. Old way, screenshots, spreadsheets, expensive Big Four auditors. The new way leverages the power of technology, which I'm sure you are all already enthusiasts of. And then next generation compliance. How do we move away from building and showing great security posture as part of a compliance certification piece of evidence, but not exclusive to it. Yeah, excited to take some questions. I think we're doing okay on time, but
Yeah, we are
Jackie,
happy
keep
to.
me honest.
Great. And if you want to mention the vanta.com/founder and what that's about. Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So if you want to head to vanta.com/founder, as mentioned, we help get you ready for security audits in weeks instead of months and automate up to 90% of the work. You can attend a demo, get a slick Yeti Rambler with chug cap. But we also have, where do I have this? On this page, I believe that there's a special deal for Founder U participants. So yeah, the
Great.
link's there for you to check out.
Awesome. We'll make sure people get that. Great. If you would mind stop sharing your screen, that way we just have sort of a conversation. Terrific. Thank you. Question from Adil. What is a good resource for leveraging blockchain for the purposes of compliance and security? Does that exist? Thank you.
Yes, great question. I do not want to give you a bad answer to that. So I'm going to take that one and circle with our technical team and report back. So my role, I spend a lot of time interfacing with our customers, building our community, building our educational resources. So I'll make note of that one and get you an answer on that one. It's a good question.
Yeah, great. And also after this, we can download our chat. So any questions we don't get to or any other questions at all, you can sort of circle back after with the founders. Stephanie's asking, how many hours and what skills are required to set Vanta up?
Great question. To set Vanta up, you are working closely with an implementation team specialist as well as a customer success manager. So you get that hands-on support to really help you get started should you need it. But one of our biggest goals this year from a product development perspective is making the product as intuitive and easy to use as possible. So in the product interface, there's a getting started guide. A member of my team is working diligently to build out a variety of self-serve resources, written and or video. So all that to say, very lightweight, pretty easy. As mentioned in the presentation, you can make your connections in a matter of minutes through our suite of integrations, connecting to your cloud providers, connecting to your, for example, background check systems, if you have those in place, connecting with your MDM. So Vanta, I believe it's vanta.com/integrations. You can take a look at all the integrations there, and that's just simply a few clicks and it comes to life. You can see what is red, you can see what is green, and then you get stuck into setting your controls, drafting your policies. So pretty quick, pretty lightweight lift in terms of getting up and running. But for folks that like a little bit more handholding and support, there is definitely a team at your disposal to help with that.
Thanks so much. At what stage should startups consider contacting Vanta? Like, what point does this, does it make sense to reach out?
What's interesting about this is, actually today is my Vantiversary, as they say. I just hit 1 year today. If we were talking 6 months ago, I would say, as you're starting to get requests for some version of compliance certification, whether that's SOC 2, some version of ISO, GDPR, HIPAA, like you name it, as you're starting to hear that come up in your prospect conversations, I would say now is the time. But per what I talked about with trust reports, which again is our product, but there are several variations of this product on the market, I would say get in touch even earlier. And this is what I'm so, and you'll probably hear the enthusiasm coming from me, is I really love that this product is one, helping businesses set up a security dashboard that gives them some sense of security monitoring, and then they can extract reports from that to hand off to prospects as and when they're ready to. And so to that end, I would say, because of this next generation type of tooling that exists, get in touch today or as soon as you're interested, because this is sort of a foundational tool to help you set things up rather than waiting until you need to get SOC 2, ISO, etc. But the good news is, as you start to make your connections to leverage the power of integrations, you are slowly but surely moving in the direction of those compliance certifications. What can be so stressful is you have a massive deal on the line, your first whale, they're like, where's your SOC 2? And you're like, we'll get back to you. We're going to get there. And you go try to spin it up as quickly as possible, right? It's a journey to get compliance certified. And so the sooner that you start that, you can already start demonstrating where you stand in advance of that actual audit and then resulting certification, if that makes sense.
Thanks, Kaitlin. Are there common, mistakes that startups make when they're sort of pursuing compliance?
Yes, I would say, to reiterate a point I just made, would be to wait too long. Audits by their nature take time. Vanta and products like Vanta help to speed that up for you notably, but it's still a journey, right? An audit itself isn't something that can be necessarily expedited. Now, certain auditors, and that's why we work with a network of trusted auditors, we have what we call a seamless audit product, which is a package of Vanta plus working with one of our preferred audit partners. They're very familiar with and used to working in Vanta, so things move a little quicker. But all that to say, I think waiting until you've been asked for SOC 2 and realizing you are either going to win or lose that deal on the back of that SOC 2, because that is just stressful. And that's when you need to just throw more money at it in a shorter period of time. I would also say that, throwing headcount at it, because there is this sort of subject matter expertise learning curve element to cybersecurity. Unless you have that type of background, a lot of folks feel like, I'm just going to hire a CISO, or I'm going to hire a senior director of security and compliance. And, there is a time and place to build out a team like that. But again, the good news is technology can save you a lot of that headcount. One of the secondary reasons Vanta was so interesting to me when they reached out was I had seen firsthand working at Intercom two things: the volume of our own customers that were just talking to us about the scramble to get SOC 2 or ISO or GDPR certified. But also in Intercom, I was leading a global technical support team at that time, and our senior security leader kept poaching support people from my team because they're really diligent, they're very great at documentation, they're very process oriented, and it just felt like a really expensive way to solve for GDPR. Came along, they stole 1 to 2 people from the support team and just had them go solve it. And so, one, I would say don't wait too long, and two, don't just throw headcount at it. Technology can and will serve you very well here.
Awesome. Thank you. Stephanie is asking, how does Vanta compare to the competition? Make your sort of best pitch here.
Ooh, okay. Put my sales hat on. I would say Vanta created this market and this product. I shared a little bit about Christina and our founder's story. She was a product leader at Dropbox. They were about to release a new product and got totally tied up in some compliance and security challenges. And she was just sort of, and she'll tell the story better than I do if you listen into her Founder You recording, but she was kind of blown away at how heavy a lift and how much time and how much money was going to be involved in getting this new product compliant. So, this is really Christina's idea. This is her space. This is her product. And she's been building it and expanding it for many years. So, Vanta's been at this the longest. We've got the largest customer base, but also trusted partner network. So whether that is the partners we work with in terms of integrations and technology partners, or our service partners, for those of you that are interested, for example, in pulling in a services provider to help with penetration testing or something like that, we have these long-standing relationships with a network of partners. And then similarly, our auditor relationships go back a long time, and they are very familiar with using our product, and that will save you both time and money. I also, leading customer experience, have to give a shout out, all the bias in the world, but I truly believe that our success, support, and implementation teams are just great humans that care so deeply about your success and will be really invested in ensuring that you reach your goals and feel good about the investment that you've made in Vanta.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, a lot of these questions were sort of, at what point does this become a priority? Ben asked that. I think that you've kind of touched about that, sort of the balance between sort of testing around and finding product market fit and being fully compliant. Like all of these things, it's a lot for founders to kind of wrap their heads around. I feel like you had a lot of points there, but if you wanted to add any more to that.
Yeah, thanks, Ben and others. Again, I know I'm a broken record on this one, but what I like so much about where our products and the industry is going is it is about getting there before the compliance conversation happens, and like with all products, you can start small and expand over time. So maybe as a 4-person startup or a 14-person company, you're not ready to tackle ISO 27001, but you are ready to feel a bit more confident in where you stand from a security perspective and to speak with more confidence to your prospects and to your customers and to your investors. And so having a dashboard that kind of centralizes all of that, that tells you what needs to be addressed, that tells you, what actions to take and increments you closer and closer to that compliance destination. I think it's just really exciting and again, empowers startups in terms of you don't need the big team. You don't need the big 4 auditor. Power of integrations and a helpful success team and a trusted auditor, and you can get there faster and cheaper.
Yeah, and we have a couple HIPAA questions too. Is the auditing, does it include HIPAA? Is there anything you could mention about that? Yep.
Yeah. HIPAA, GDPR, CCPA, ISO 27001, as well as SOC 2. You didn't hear it from me, but some very exciting additional standards in the works. I will also take the opportunity to announce today that we launched our API connectors program. And so to date, the volume of integrations that we've had have been sort of built in-house by us. And today the lid is blown off of that. So for all the builders out there that want to take a look and fiddle around, that announcement is both on our website as well as LinkedIn and the other spaces today as well.
Great. And maybe I'll grab one more. Does Vanta do webinars? I'm not sure I understand, because a lot of startups don't have money early on, so we do not want to take up too much time with one-on-one meetings.
Oh, yes. I love that question. And this is what's so interesting as an experience leader. We have some customers, large and small, that are like, give me a person. I want their time. I want to be able to schedule a meeting onto their calendar. I want a direct phone number and I want my handheld. And then there's other folks that are like, that is the last thing I want. I want to be able to self-serve and help myself. So yes, we do offer both. If you need the handholding and you need that named person to assist you, they're available to you. We have a variety of onboarding and implementation webinars, and we are increasingly releasing more video content around how-to guides and things of that nature. So, and I'm much more of the webinar kind of teach myself person too. So have been pretty motivated to build and release as much of that as we can.
All right, terrific. And thanks, Deb is saying, thank you, Kaitlin. Your information and energy have lit up my office.
Oh, right. Well, thank you so much.
Super important and kind of intimidating topic, but I think I feel better about it. I hope other folks do. Sorry, Kaitlin, what were you going to say?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I'm shining here and smiling because it's such an honor, as I said at the top of the call, to meet with all of you. I also get, man, if me 10 years ago thought I'd be this fired up to talk about cybersecurity, I would have rolled over laughing. But nonetheless, here I am. And I wish you all the best of luck in building great security posture, winning new big deals on the back of that. And, I'm just KP at Vanta if you ever want to chat.
All right, we'll make sure everyone has that. And if, Kaitlin, thank you so much. I would love it if everyone unmuted themselves, and just thanks Kaitlin and Vanta for, sponsoring Founder University and giving us all this great content for free.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you, Kaitlin. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank
Very
you.
useful.
Thank you.
I love it. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Kaitlin.